Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Just Plain Living. I'm John Gray.
Good morning, John Gray. I'm Peggy Burton.
How are you, dear?
I'm just thrilled to be alive, sitting in this chair.
Isn't it wonderful? Live and well in the United States of America.
Right. Did you have a good Labor Day?
I push mowed grass till I couldn't walk anymore. Then I came down here to the studio and reset the set from a football show to this show, and we won a football game Friday night that we probably shouldn't have won, but we did. We were behind. If you hadn't seen the Coy Sith fifth quarter show, we were behind with 8 minutes left. We were behind 20-7.
Wow.
And won 28-20.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible.
So
and the kids did a great job.
They're off to a great start.
Off to a great start. And with that said, this Friday night, right here in Tullahoma, Tennessee, Franklin County is going to be here. So they're back on our schedule again, and which is wonderful because it's one of those old rivalry games.
That's what I was going to say.
Everybody makes a little money, you know, when you're playing some school that's 2.5 hours away.
And I would say
they bring 20.
This will be full.
Yeah, the stands will be full. Both sides make money, and a lot of these kids know each other.
Yeah.
Sort of like, this year we're playing Coffee County, Franklin County, Shelbyville, and Warren County.
And they're all close.
So these are all close enough that these kids could be in clubs or groups, or they play baseball against each other or something else. So it's good for the kids, it's good for the families, it's good for the
it's
program.
Good for the town, right.
Yeah, it's just great. And Coy Sisk is doing a great job with those young men. He certainly is. He said what they learned how to do, he said, we train them for 4 quarters because we know that if we can last till the fourth quarter, and be in reach
of the,
we will be in better shape than whoever we play.
Yeah.
And we will, if we can gas them, if we can finally get them gassed, we can win. And they did. And it's wonderful for young men to see that what they're taught comes true. If they just stay the course.
Just practice and stay the course. You're right.
So that's a great deal. And I think that our city board tonight is having a meeting with our prospective new city administrator on that deal and money and contract or whatever they're going to do. And that's Jason Quick, and I'm sure whatever it is, they'll figure it out. I can't understand how you can advertise a job that people will apply for and nobody knows what it pays.
I can't either.
They just got through paying somebody for doing it.
And there has to be a dollar out there,
It's dollar club. I mean, why would somebody from another state, which we had like 38 people apply for it in the beginning,
and not know what the salary is?
Why would you apply for something if you don't even know what you're going to get paid? It might not be as good as the job you already have.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's public record. Anybody who wants to go over to City Hall and say, how much did the city administrator make?
Okay, so then who wants to know that it's not finding out?
Well, who's going to walk over there and see? The board acted like they didn't know what they wanted to pay him.
Oh, I see.
Now, maybe he might ask for something
a little more.
A little more. I don't know. But I just seemed kind of funny that nobody seemed to know what the salary for the job was.
It's a big job, isn't it?
It's a huge job. It's running this city. It's the only employee that the Board of Mayor and Aldermen has is the city administrator. Nobody else in the city works for the board. Only the city administrator. Everybody else in the city works for the city administrator.
Okay. So
the city board, although sometimes they think they can just walk and tell people whatever, wherever, what to do, they've got no right to do that.
They can't do that.
They put Costa Bryce on paid leave. That wasn't their job to do. That was the city administrator's job to do.
Well, why don't they
I
keep
don't
up
know.
with their
I
job?
don't know. I don't know.
I think I have it written down
There's an
somewhere.
upheaval everywhere in the country right now. Seems like about. I was asking Heather Hines Duncan, who used to be our county court clerk. She retired from that job, and what she does now is she has 10 counties where she goes around and works with the county
Works
court
with the county
clerks
court
and
clerk.
makes sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do and all that. And I asked her about that, and she said, "John, it's no different than Tullahoma's no different in every county I go in. Everything just seems to be in upheaval."
I wonder, I just wonder why that is. Why,
Well, it's because our national politics are that way.
is that it? But it looks
It's crazy.
like
I'll tell you what, I was going to save this, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this right now, because I wrote something last week about ink, about your ink, and read it, and I had several comments about that. We live in the land of the free because of the brave that fight for our rights, many to their grave. Freedom of speech is the law of the land. So when I voice my opinion, I hope you'll understand. You can disagree with me. It's your choice to do. But don't hate me for my words, because I'll refuse to hate you. We both have the right to free speech.
That is true.
You know?
And there are times when it feels like we don't have that right.
Well, everybody's hating everybody because they don't agree with them.
And that's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
How can you have I think it's...
How can you have free speech if it's only one way?
You can't. It's impossible.
But our national politics have sort of forced it on everybody downstream. I heard a guy on television the other day, and they were talking about president and the candidates, and it was Meet the Nation or whatever that show is, and the guy said, "Well, what do you think about Trump versus Biden for president?" And this guy, who was a Republican, said 70% of the nation doesn't want that. They don't want either one of them. But the both far reaches of each party, that's who they want. And so that, who's going to step up?
You're right. Well, there's quite a few did you watch the Republican talk that
But
night?
they've got to make it, the Republican Party has got to anoint them
Well, I
to
understand
be
that,
the
yeah.
presidential candidate.
Exactly.
And there's a place here where somebody, the 70% of us who are moderate in either side, we're not accomplishing anything. We're fight. Nothing gets done.
Nothing gets done when you're always in a fight.
Fran was talking about one of her friends over in Lawrenceburg, whose husband is in the state legislature, and they called for this emergency meeting, and they went up there for 2 days and screamed at each other and left and didn't accomplish a thing.
Just put it on hold. You're right about that.
So the
What do
rest
we
of
have?
us are waiting.
Do we have as many Democrat nominees as we do Republican nominees?
I don't know.
I haven't seen their list yet.
I figure that we don't have but either choice we have is not our choice. It's the choice that big money makes to sit in front of us.
So we don't have a choice.
We've got two. We've got a Republican and a Democrat, but it's not. I don't think it's the people's choice. I think it's a dollar bill's choice, because who spends the most money? Where do they get that money? And when they spend that money to get elected, who do they owe the debt to?
Right.
The people who give them the money to get elected.
And they never.
And there's 70% of us out here in our wonderful, beautiful nation going, what in the world is going on? We don't want this, but we have no choice.
I would like to see younger people running for
I
office.
would too.
I think that it's time that they spoke up and Why are more younger people not running for office? Might be a question.
Because they don't get any money. See, I think if there was a spending cap to where no matter how much money you had, you could only spend X amount of dollars to advertise yourself for office.
That would be a good idea.
And everybody's equal.
Well, I hate
It's
to,
not who gets
yeah.
the most money, who gets the most advertising, because the last person you see or the person you see the most who people aren't really that informed in what's going on think, well, this person must be good. They've been up there, I will just vote for them.
What bothers me more than anything, I am inundated all the time with a box full of letters asking for money, and and my emails are overloaded asking for money. I can't
Everybody
even
wants
get my
money.
business done for deleting. I spend my life
Right, yeah,
deleting.
spend your life deleting. Well,
I have to change my name and my website.
you know, and you wonder sometimes, I mean, thank God for Philip and Andrew and these folks that run around here who are technically more savvy than I am,
right.
because a lot of times stuff will come up on my computer screen and I won't do it. And Philip will come in and I'll say, hey, if I hit this, is it going to take everything off my computer? Yeah, you don't need to hit that, or the next time it's no, that's okay. Well, how are we supposed to know which is okay and which isn't okay? We need young people, young minds, young brains that understand all this stuff. And thank you for our youth for being there, but our youth need to get involved.
And some are. I think some are. Some are working hard and trying to do their best to make an impact on. Will anybody listen to them? That's a big question. Will anybody listen to anybody? Sometimes
I don't know. There was one town where they elected a 18 or 19-year-old mayor.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Not recently, but it was a couple of years ago. We had a young man in Tullahoma who ran for alderman as the year after he graduated from high school.
That's great.
And came close to winning. I wish he'd have won because he needed to win.
Yeah. That would have been probably a real good thing for the alderman group.
Well, that plus that would get all these young people watching and seeing what he's doing, what's going on. A lot of them don't know and don't get into it.
Are people in office bothering to mentor some of these young people that might want to be
I have no idea.
In something?
I know that when we came up recently with the testing scores for our third graders to take a state test to see if they can go to the fourth grade, the reading scores weren't very good.
Because they're not reading enough.
Well, plus it was 2 years of COVID. They weren't in school a lot.
COVID's getting blamed for everything, but at some point people got to just, get with it and learn to do it.
Yeah, so I say that to say this. We put together, Lane Curley and Katrine Stevens put together an idea, and I was asked to be involved, and it's called Reading Buddies, and it's mentors,
that's a really good idea.
Mentors to go and spend 1 or 2 days a month. That's all. With a young kid, and they'll have a thing for you to do. It won't be, you don't have to invent how you're going to help this kid.
I just think that a lot of kids have not been able to read because they're either on a computer playing a game, or there's too much TV watching, too much being on a
and their
cell
parents
phone.
don't read a lot to them at home.
Right.
When they're young.
It's important.
So I feel very honored that I was chosen to be one of the reading buddies, and I'm going to go to East Lincoln School after this show today
and read
and go through. Well, we're not going to read. They're going to explain to me what the program is and get a date. She said, I want to know 1 day a month, and I said, well, I want to do it one day a month.
Are they still looking for more?
They're looking for
if
reading
people out
buddies.
There want to
go over, stop by the school board and say, I want to be a reading buddy. Now, you have to go through a security check.
Sure.
because, they just the way things are.
Are you going to pass it?
Huh?
Have you already
I
passed it?
passed mine. I was kind of surprised in a way.
Okay.
Really hadn't done anything all that bad in my life.
No, you're a good reader. I think you'd be really good at reading.
But I don't know. It might just be holding up letters to see if they can. They'll tell us what we need to do to help these kids.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to do is help them. And if anybody out there has an hour a month,
they should
go to the school system and sign up. And if anybody out there is interested in running for office, for city office, anybody who's a citizen and living in Tullahoma can run for city office. Go put your name in the hat.
Well, sure.
If you don't like how things are going, run for office.
Run for office.
Anybody can do it.
Change some things.
Change some things. And we're going to change this, what did they used to call it when Fuller and I would do useless dribble? Yeah. Hopefully this hasn't been useless dribble, but some of you might think it is. And that's okay too, because we live in a land where speech is free. We'll be back right after this.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
For many senior citizens, life looks like this. But it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
Hi there, this is Terry Stroop, Stroop's Accurate Refrigeration. Summer's about to wind down, fall's right around the corner. It's time to get signed up for your fall maintenance checks, and let's get out and support our local high school football this year. Let's go, Cats!
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back. I'm happy today to have with me Susan Johnson with Isaiah House, and you're the coordinator, the program coordinator, and I know you're coordinating a lot of stuff because y'all need money, don't you?
We always do, yeah.
Let's tell us, the audience first, a little bit about Isaiah House and what it does.
Okay. Isaiah 117 House provides care for children who are awaiting foster placement. When the Department of Children's Services remove a child from their home, typically they were taken to an office or a conference room to wait for placement, where that could be hours to days. And now we have a home for Coffee, Franklin, and Grundy that the caseworkers can bring the child to, where they'll be met by a smiling, loving volunteer ready to be an extra set of hands. The caseworker will stay with that child the entire time because they are the supervision. A lot of times these children come to us and they're scared, they're tired, they're dirty, they're hungry.
And they miss their parents even though they may have beaten them up.
They do, and they don't know, what's happened. They may have gotten removed in the middle of the night. And so at the Isaiah House, it looks just like a comfy home. It looks just like your home would.
That's wonderful.
And so they can come in, they can get a bath, they can get a lice treatment, they can get something to eat. So if they want something cooked, the volunteer will cook it, or we'll go out and get their favorite meal. It's what do you want to eat tonight? And we'll go get what they asked for. Or they can go outside and play. Our backyard looks like a park. And so the kids get real excited when they see that, can't wait to go out those doors. If they're tired, they can go to bed and get some rest. But our mission's really 3 parts, and it's first to step in early and reduce trauma for these kids by telling them, like you said, they don't know a lot of times what's happened, so we tell them, you've done nothing wrong, and you were loved. And then second, we want to come alongside that caseworker and be an extra set of hands so they can come in the house and take a deep breath and work on their paperwork, and we can love on that child, and we can take care of that caseworker as well while they're there, because we want to love on them. You don't know what they just walked through when they came to our home. And so then third, we want to ease that foster family transition, because a lot of times these kids come with nothing, or they'll come with their items in a black trash bag.
So you all furnish supplies and clothes and what else?
So anything they need to go to their foster placement, we provide it. If it's a bed, or if it's a car seat, or a high chair, or a pack and play. If you leave your home today and you had nothing with you, think of all the things you would need. That's what we pack at the Isaiah 117 house. So they leave with duffel bags, no more trash bags. They leave with duffel bags and backpacks and school supplies and clothes and hygiene.
They look like other people.
They do, and they get
like
to choose. They get to choose these items, and it's important for those items to be new, so they can pop that tag. They may have never done that.
That's awesome. How many people do you have in this house right now?
So it just varies. The numbers do. Since we opened a little over a year ago, we have actually served 119 children came through our door.
That's really
good. And we
good.
served an additional 19 kiddos that didn't come through our doors. So a total of about 138 kids in the last year.
And if somebody needs your service, how do they get in touch with you?
They come through the Department of Children's Service. So the Department of Children's Service, we're kind of partnered with them, and they call us when they have a removal, and then they bring them to the home and stay with them.
It's a huge job you're doing, and there's a real need. So I know you're having this golf tournament coming up, so let's talk about that. Yes. And this is to raise money.
It is.
Correct.
So we have a golf tournament every year, and so it's Friday, September the 22nd. This year, the only change, normally we have a 1 o'clock shotgun start, and this year's bright and early, 8 a.m. shotgun start at Willowbrook. The awesome thing is once the golfers have paid their registration, they don't need to bring their wallet on the day of the tournament. They get a free Titleist hat, a free sleeve of balls, snacks, a door prize ticket, lunch, golf carts are included.
Wonderful.
We have prizes for the top 2 or the top 3 teams. We actually have 2 flights so the top 6 teams there.
And what are they paid to enter the?
So it's $100 individually. If businesses want to have a sign, then they can pay $500 for a team and get a whole sign out on the course. So we're still needing signs, we're still needing sponsors, we still need door prizes, because we want, every year we strive to make this an exceptional tournament so the golfers come and just have a good time.
You'll see on our screen there how to contact to get more information or to send money.
Yes.
You'll just take money, whether they play golf or not, it doesn't matter, but you're having these wonderful event, which is, my husband was a golfer. He'd have been right on top of that. I mean, and then you get all this free stuff.
You do.
You can't go wrong. It's a great day to do what you love and help Isaiah.
You can, and you're playing golf, you're having fun, and you're helping kids in your community, so what better way to come out? And then also, I think a really cool thing to add is all the contests that day are included. So golfers won't need to bring their wallet to get to be in the contest, like the putting contest or the closest to the pin. They get a free mulligan. And John Roberts Toyota is also going to have a brand new Camry out there.
Oh my gosh.
So if someone's lucky enough to make that shot, they might go home in a new car.
What shot is that, a hole-in-one?
Yeah, so they have it on a certain hole out on the course, and so if they put the car out there, so it's really cool for the golfers to kind of strive to make that shot.
That's a real incentive.
It is.
And for $100, and they don't have to carry their money with them, all they have to do is show up, enjoy, and help a great cause.
Yes.
How many years have you been doing this, Susan?
So this is our 4th annual golf tournament that we've had.
Time. Well, I've always heard that by the 3rd fundraising event, you start to be more successful. Have you found that? Has it gotten bigger each year?
It kind of has, and a lot of the golfers know what to expect, so we have golfers returning. I think the only difference is this year it's at 8 o'clock on a Friday, so that may make a little difference. We still have room for a few teams.
Have we given the date yet?
Yes, so September the 22nd on Friday.
What is the last date that they can sign up?
So we hope to have everybody signed up, honestly, by, say, September the 10th. So we can prepare the food and make sure we've got everything ready to go.
And if they've goofed off and not signed up in time, can they still just come that day?
No, they'll need to contact us, because once we get to 32 teams, it's actually will be full.
So you do have a deadline.
We do.
And be sure and write that down. Well, we don't have a phone number. Should they have a phone number?
They can. They can reach me at 931-570-2002. Or they can go to our Facebook page, Isaiah 117 House, Coffee, Franklin and Grundy, and they'll find my phone number on there.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest thing to remember, because everybody goes on Facebook these days.
They do. And they can message me there, or I think it's you guys have listed that. They can go to Isaiah117house.com.
And do you have a way for them to share that with their friends and neighbors?
Yes, they do. And we have golf posts going out every week, and so they can share that, put that on their page.
And if everybody will do that, it'll get the word out.
It will. And so anybody can do any part of it. If they want to come out and just donate a door prize, they want to play golf, they want to sponsor the tournament, we can use people to have volunteers. Sure. So whatever anybody wants to do, they can contact us.
Volunteers are always neat, and sponsors, let's face it. And that's a wonderful thing to sponsor. When you got interested in doing this, was there any particular reason, or were you trained in college to do this, or is this?
Well, I worked with children, so my previous job, we went every year to a conference, and I heard the founder speaking. And so I'll be honest with you, I couldn't really believe when I found out that children sometimes were waiting in offices, in conference rooms. And so it just kind of stayed on my heart, and I prayed about it and felt like God was calling me to do more. And so once I found out that in Grundy County, our kids sometimes go to offices at the county jail.
That's the worst.
That was it. So I called her and I said, Rhonda, how do we get a house for our county? And so it kind of started from there in May of 2019. And
so it's
we started
become
the
a
journey.
Passion with you. I can tell you really believe in what you're doing, and I think you have to, and I think everybody needs to believe in this, because I know there's a phenomenal amount of children and young mothers, and sometimes it's fathers, that need this help.
And our kids need to know. I don't think we need to wait till they're adults and say, hey, we're sorry. It's time now to say, you've done nothing wrong and you are loved, and letting them know that the community cares. Because when we bring those items down, all those clothes and things, we call it our giving room upstairs, we always share that with them. The community did this for you.
And does this place only take a certain area in the certain amount of counties?
No. So actually, if the house is available, we don't care where the caseworkers are driving the kiddos from. We've had some caseworkers driving 2 hours to us.
Okay. That's a wonderful thing to do. Our time is up, Susan, but I want you to know that this is a wonderful project. So don't forget this September 22nd golf team, and get involved. I hope to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Susan. We'll be back.
I want to invite y'all to come by Clayton's, downtown Tullahoma. We try to serve the community, the area, and we try to help people with their feet and comfortable shoes. We still measure feet. We have a great new arch mat. We have insoles. Please come see us at Clayton's and let me help you find some comfortable shoes for those achy feet.
We're gonna pick your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton's Shoe Store. We're gonna pick your style.
My husband was diagnosed with a spinal infection. He lost his ability to swallow and the movement of his legs.
I couldn't turn over in bed, I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat.
They were just wonderful in the treatment and care they gave my husband.
I regained my mobility where I was able to go home.
It is miraculous.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
STEM is everywhere, like here. behind the scenes of The Walking Dead.
When we break down clothes, we tumble it with sodium phosphate, rock salt, and dish detergent.
We stitched together images of our model and created a 3D set that can be walked through in a VR headset.
We're able to turn 12 walkers into 1,000 walker hordes.
STEM can create new worlds on and off the screen. What will you make with STEM? Get inspired at SheCanSTEM.com.
Hi there, this is Terry Stroop, Stroop's Accurate Refrigeration. Summer's about to wind down, fall's right around the corner. It's time to get signed up for your fall maintenance checks, and let's get out and support our local high school football this year. Let's go, Cats!
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Rickman. And this is Pat Welch and John Weir here today for the 79th segment of Conversation with John and Pat.
Pat, occasionally when we do these, you know, we'll do a span of maybe 4, 5, 6 of them in a row. And on 78, there was a question who wrote the song that I sang last time. It was Woody Guthrie.
Okay.
And Woody Guthrie also wrote the one I'm going to do here. You got to walk that lonesome valley. You got to walk it by yourself. Nobody else can walk it for you. You got to walk it by yourself. Jesus walked that lonesome valley. He had to walk it by himself. Nobody else could walk it for him. He had to walk it by himself. You've got to walk that lonesome valley. You've got to walk it by yourself. Nobody else can walk it for you. You've got to walk it by yourself. You know, Woody Guthrie, just thinking back, I didn't even get one applaud then. Normally, we have somebody out there who will do.
I think management was spellbound by that, John.
It could be.
Yeah.
But Woody Guthrie, if anyone would study his lyrics, those are folk songs. He did This Land Is Your Land, and then Going Down That Road Feeling Bad. That's the one we did last segment.
Is it Bob Seger that we've mentioned before? He was a real big folk singer at the time. And
Woody Guthrie had a son, Arno Guthrie, who did songs similar to his dad. I'm not sure if he wrote them. I don't know much about Arno, but Woody Guthrie is something, really something.
Interesting. We got an impossible segue for that today, John.
We'll just do it.
Yeah, we'll just jump right in. A couple of weeks ago, I went out and visited Coach W.C. Dub Cooper. I like to go by there every 2 or 3 months, and he and his wife Betty, not in great health, but their minds are really stout. And if you remember, Coach Cooper coached high school football in Tullahoma from 56 through 66, and then was principal at West for many years, and Betty worked in the administration building. But I found Philip put up at 1948 UT. This was the program from the Tennessee-Alabama game in 1948. In October was played in Knoxville, and Kyle Bill's a good friend, able to get that program for me, and I took it over there because Coach Cooper played in that game, and he was General Neyland's player of the week and against Alabama. And as he looked through the roster, he could tell a story or identify just about every person in there and who he'd talked to. In fact, I don't think that was one, but in that whole roster wasn't but one other player still alive. But he mentioned one. He said, "There's one. I don't know if he said, I don't know if I've told you this before. That boy's from Tullahoma, and his name was Tom Brixey." And when I went home and looked him up a little bit, I found one really interesting story. And then next segment, number 80, will come back and I'll cover Mr. Brixey in a little bit more in depth. But I found out that the class of 1953, which would be that senior year of the football season, of course, had been 52. Coach McClure had come from, Creed McClure had come from McMinnville and was hired as the football coach. And he ended up in 55 having a great team that was undefeated that Frank Mullins was a big part of. But anyway, coming from McMinnville, they played McMinnville that year on a Friday night. And of course that was a big game to Mr. McClure. And but Chevyville and Sparta were going to play in Chevyville for some reason on Thursday night. And Mr. McClure got wind that some of the players had found that out, and he was afraid they were going to go over there and watch some of that game, and he wanted them in bed, royal rested for the Friday night game, for their game. And he put down a stern warning there all where nobody was going to that ball game. Well, we had three colorful figures from Tullahoma's history. Eric Soulsby, who is still with us, and he played at Vanderbilt, I believe, in the 1955 Gator Bowl team. T. Motlow and Billy Joe Finney. They all snuck off, drove over to Chevyville on Thursday night, and supposedly wore, according to the report I got, they wore long coats and had big hats on and tried to cover up where nobody could find them and sat on the Sparta side. Well, Tom Brixey, Coach Cooper's friend and player, fellow teammate at UT, he was coaching for Sparta and recognized who they were, and he and Coach McClure, Mr. McClure, were really good friends, and so he called him that week and said, "You had three players over here," or called him at night, Thursday night, "You had three players over here at Chevyville tonight," and he said, "Oh." So of course he did a little investigating, and he suspended them and threw them off the team for that, at least for that game, and wouldn't let them sit on the bench. And they were behind by 6 points at halftime, and supposedly the crowd was egging the three players on, and they went to the fence and got in a discussion with Mr. McClure that was supposed to have been negotiations for what it would take to come back, and they agreed on 100 laps after following practice the next week. Well, that would have been 25 miles, and I'm having a hard time believing that those boys ran 25 miles after practice during that week. But anyway, he did let them come back, and
they weren't built for cross country, were they?
No, they weren't cross country, especially T wouldn't have been a cross country runner. And so they ended up coming back and went to the gym from Old Wade Field. You know, it was where you would have coached basketball. They went up there and got the equipment on, came back, and Tullahoma won 19-13, and it was ended up being a great story from a group that loved to tell stories, and T was T. Motlow was some kind of storyteller, and they had a reunion not long ago in 2013, I believe it was, and supposedly the biggest story was that there was a gentleman in that class, Robert Owens, who I think was related to the Owens family that owned Crescent Box. And he became a naval admiral. And when he first got into the service, he was a fighter pilot and supposedly flew over T's farm in Moore County upside down and said he grinned at him. He was so low that he grinned at him. And T claimed that that there was not a hen that laid eggs or a cow that gave any milk for 2 weeks after they were buzzed by Admiral Owens. And supposedly in the account I read, Admiral Owens admitted that he flew the plane over the farm, but the rest of the story, he said, was embellished.
Oh,
Johnny, have you got any questions or follow-ups on any of that?
Embellishing is something we might do from time to time, but we don't expect it from other folks. Might. Oh, by the way, just to end this up, you know, we've talked about the great migration from Chapel Hill to Tullahoma. Kathy Orr, she was a Hill, Joe Orr's wife, Kathy, a good girl from Chapel Hill, and then also the Hargroves, Margaret and here I am embarrassed, but Mr. Hargrove from over there, they go to Highland Baptist Church over there, and Arthur Hargrove. Thank you, and but good folks.
Well, John, we may have a little bit of time. Let me work one more Motlow story in there. T's brother, Doug, was another colorful figure that had, there's plenty of stories. And these, if they were embellished by Doug because he told me to my face these two stories. And we have to understand that football in the 40s was not as tightly regulated as far as age and so forth as it is now. And Doug told me that he played 4 high school games in a week. He played for Tullahoma, Lynchburg, Castle Heights, and another one. And I can't remember.
Morgan.
You may be right. But I asked him about how that was legally able to go, and he said, well, the Castle Heights played in a prep school league, military league, and so he used his real name playing for Tullahoma and playing for Castle Heights, but he used an alias for the other 2 games. And he said, now, well, he said, at the end of that 4th game, he said, I'm a little sore. Which I can imagine after that 4th game, man, be a little bit sore. And we'll close with this last part as far as age is concerned. Doug finished high school at 21. And he said he can remember, one of his favorite stories was that he went to the principal's office, and he and the principal and the director of schools, Mr. Lee, all went to vote for Roosevelt at the same time. When the voting age was 21.
Great story.
Isn't that a good story? So we'll wrap up segment 79, and but that's not. We hope that's not the last segment, because we've got a lot of stories. The Motlows are full of stories.
Yes,
Thank y'all.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat, with John and Pat, with John and Pat.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For many senior citizens, life looks like this, but it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
He's a little bit of you, he's a little bit of me. He's the trash along the roadside of Tennessee. He's the garbage that we find. He's the dream we left behind. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. A throwaway bottle or pop top can may not seem much to a traveling man, but a little bit of litter goes a long, long way. Growing, getting bigger every day. Tennessee trash messing up the highways. Tennessee trash gone down.
ways. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash.
We have met the enemy, and he is us.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. There are a lot of opinions being shared. But I had the chance to talk with my doctor about my concerns. He told me the vaccines are backed by decades of research, and that the vaccines are proven safe and effective. Now I'm protected and ready to put this pandemic behind us. Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right. This is a rare occasion.
I was so excited to see you there with a guitar in your hand.
Peggy is responsible for promoting songwriters at South Jackson Civic Center and the Country Show, and I are one.
You are a good one.
I want to talk a little bit about songwriting and where ideas come from.
Okay.
And I was in Nashville one day with a guy, producer, and we're standing outside, and all of a sudden he puts his thumb up, and there's this lady walking across the street, and he puts his thumb up and he follows her down the street, and he said, you know, if you follow somebody long enough, they'll disappear.
Did that
and
become
I said,
a song?
well, that sounds like a song title to me. And he said, well, what's the title? And I said, if it looks like I'm getting smaller, it's because I'm leaving.
Oh, I
it's
love
not because I'm losing weight. It's because I'm leaving. So I was over at Patriots Liquor Store, filming a commercial for Jay Damron to go on the football show, and Jeff Hazard works over there. And Bob Hazard, his dad, was in law practice with Tom Copeland and Jim Conley. Hazard, Copeland and Conley, or Conley, Copeland and Hazard, or whatever it was. But he and I were classmates. And Jeff was in school with my son. And Jeff is over there working, managing Jay's store. And he had a little guitar in there, and he had told me that he had started to learn how to play the guitar. And he handed that little guitar to me and said, play me something. And I said, you don't want to hear me play if you're wanting to learn how to play a guitar, because I'm horrible. And they kept prompting me, and Jay said, I'll sing us a song. And so I decided on that, and so here we go. You got that, Philip?
He's got it.
If it looks like I'm getting smaller, it's because I'm leaving.
I like that.
If I don't answer when you holler, it's because I'm damn near gone. I tried to warn you, but you had trouble believing. I was tired of catching hell when I ain't done nothing wrong. So as you watch me go, there's one thing you should know. You'll be the only one left to blame when you're all alone. You'll be the only one left to blame when you're alone. It's hard to pass the buck when old Buck's done packed and gone. Won't do no good, pitch a fit, holler and carry on. You'll be the only one left to blame when you're left all alone. If you think you're still on top, look underneath you. Honey, I ain't gonna stop just because you call my name. If you look around, you'll find what I bequeathed you. It's a polished saddle horn and an empty set of reins. And if that makes your blood cook, you better run to the mirror and look. 'Cause when you're all alone, ain't nobody left to blame. You'll be the only one left to blame when you're alone, you're alone. It's hard to pass the buck when old Buck's done packed and gone. It won't do no good, pitch a fit, holler and carry on. You'll be the only one left to blame when you're left all alone, all alone.
Oh my goodness, John, that's great. I love it.
The only one left to blame, all because a guy was following a woman down the road with his thumb. It's amazing where songs come from. And I tell young people and old people and anybody who's trying to write anything, you can never read too many books, you can never listen too much music, and you can never watch too many good movies. Because the people who create all of that stuff are genius.
Oh, yeah.
And they leave little pieces in there that if you're open to,
you can
just like somebody following somebody down the street. Now, would you have thought that would have turned into a song?
No, I guess.
But it did.
But it did.
In my crazy mind, it did. So I hope you enjoyed.
I loved it.
You're the only one left to blame, and do what makes you happy. If you want to write every day, because the more you do, the easier it gets.
And sing it, you know.
And sing it.
So what if it's not the greatest thing in the world?
I've got a book back here by Jeff Tweedy, who is the head guy of a band called Wilco. Nationally known, one of Andrew's favorite bands, and it's about how everyone should write a song.
I think so.
Whether you know how to or not, put words together, and he tells you in this book how to do it, and sing it. When you get finished with it, if you don't know the music, steal the music. You know, I mean, he said...
Oh my gosh, how many songs have been written to the very same chords?
But what Tweedy says, when he's listening to music, and he hears a musical riff that he hadn't heard before, he writes it down.
Right.
Puts it in a book. And he said then every now and then, he'll pick up that book and he'll take all those different ones and put them on one page.
And turn them into
a melody.
Yeah.
And then write the words to it. So you're not really stealing, you're just borrowing, because like Peggy said, all of them have been done before. And he said, what you need to do is all I'm asking you to do, because everybody has a song. If nothing else, stand in front of a mirror and sing it to yourself.
Yeah, you know, just like so many country songs are chords 1, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
And if you'll just get that going, and you can put your own rhythm to it, and you've got a song.
Do it. But then he said, to make it really, really, really worth your while, sing it to one other person. Your wife, your mother, your kids,
Let
a
somebody
friend.
hear it. Yeah.
Let somebody else hear your song.
And that's hard for a lot of people
all
to
have
do.
a song.
It's often hard to share what you feel inside and what you've written that concerns you maybe, or your life. And it is hard to share it with other people. But do it.
Do it.
Do it anyway.
Like we read earlier, there are people go to war and die for us to have free speech. And so use it. Make it part of what you do. Think about what you say, like the thing I read last week about your ink.
Yeah.
The ink in your life. Use what you've been given in a way that maybe will help someone else understand how you feel.
The beauty of it.
Because how you feel is just as important as how they feel.
Exactly. Now I've lost my train of thought. But the beauty of it is sharing your story.
Sure.
And you can keep it to yourself, but until you share it, you don't know the value, because often you have a great song with you.
You know what's my favorite part of that song that I just did? It's hard to pass the buck when old Buck's done packed and gone.
That is a good line.
I just love that line. We'll leave you with that, folks. It's hard to pass the buck when old Buck's done packed and gone. We'll be right back.
The Bookshelf in Tullahoma is the fundraising arm of the Coffee County Literacy Council. Since 1988, the Literacy Council's goal and purpose has been to support and promote adult basic education in Coffee County. We enable individuals to complete their high school equivalency exam, which helps them get better jobs or continue into higher education. The Bookshelf at 114 Southwest Atlantic Street in Tullahoma is where we sell used books, which are donated to us by the community. Come see us, bring your books to donate, and join us as you find every genre of books that you can imagine.
I had a knee replacement, so they've got me in life care, which I'm very, very thankful for. I couldn't garden, I couldn't do my flower beds, I can't chase my little dogs. I have been in several therapy sessions for knees and back, and that's the best therapist I believe I've ever been to. It's tremendous because I'm able to walk again, but if it wasn't for the care, I wouldn't be where I am.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
Parkview Senior Living, active, independent senior living at its finest.
Do you love sports? Then you should know about STEM. Because maximizing nutrition, analyzing peak muscle performance, calculating the perfect shot, and more are all made possible by science, technology, engineering, and math. In fact, there are more careers than ever in sports science. So if you have a passion for sports, then think about getting involved in STEM and improve everyone's game on and off the field. Get inspired at SheCanSTEM.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Ladies of behind the cameras that puts the show on the road. We're glad to be here this morning, and never could we do the whole history of railroading in Tullahoma in a short time, but we love to hit the highlights of it. And today, since the ARC train is coming to Tullahoma, I thought it would be appropriate to speak a little bit about the history of railroading in Tullahoma and the formal opening of the ARC train in the 100, 200 block of North Atlantic Street is at 10 o'clock, just a little while from now, and the train's in place, and everything is neat and trim, and the show will be wonderful, and it'll be all through this weekend. We hope you can avail yourself of this opportunity to see the art train. Let me start by saying that Tullahoma is a railroad town. They built the railroad from Chattanooga to Nashville in 1850, and the freight depot and the passenger depot were in the 100 block of North Atlantic Street. And when road traffic became real heavy, and freight trains would stop to load or unload, they would block Lincoln Street and Grundy Street. So they jacked the freight depot up, and that's what this picture is. They've jacked it up, laid rails under it, and put it down on some flat cars and moved it 2 blocks south, right across the railroad from where Hawk's hardware store is now. And it operated and took boxcar loads of material and furniture and cars and things that people needed for from 1921 to 1968, when it was raised, when the highway 18-wheelers began to be so plentiful. But that was the early days, and of course they made where that freight depot had been, they made it in a park that was used as a city park for many, many years. Mr. W.J. Davidson was mayor, and it was named for him at Davidson Park, and real nice park. And moving right along, here's a photograph of one of our switch engines, and it's hard to see, but the second gentleman from the left is Mr. Harry Harris, that lived on South Atlantic Street, and he drove the train up the Sparta Branch every day. He was the engineer, and the tradition is that when he would approach Tullahoma late in the afternoon, he'd blow his whistle, and his wife could tell what he wanted for supper by the way he tooted his whistle. I thought that was real neat. Real nice fella. Got a lot of switch engines, and there was a turnaround spot on North Atlantic Street right in front of Haynes Cole Law Office, where the engine would go up a little grade there, and he would turn it around. They'd turn the engine around so it could be going the other way. There is a Y in Tullahoma running around Builder Supply in that area of town that a whole train can turn around, and it's the only turnaround spot between Nashville and Chattanooga. Now, moving right along, here's one of our yellow stripers that the NC and St. L Railroad bought 24 of those right before World War II, and they pulled the big military trains and war material between the supplier and the West Coast and the East Coast, and especially right here in Middle Tennessee because of the maneuvers during 1942 and 1943. A sister engine to this one is on display at Centennial Park in Nashville, next to the Parthenon, and those train lovers might like to see that sometime. And here's old steam freight train coming right through the middle of town about 1940. You see the smoke, and I might mention this too, that part of the culture back then was the hobos. I haven't seen a hobo in a long time, but back in the 30s, when times were tough, why, you might see as many as 15 or 20 on a freight train. And a lot of them stopped in Tullahoma to ask for a meal or a sandwich, and they never gave any problems at all. And some of them even would mow your yard or rake your leaves for a meal, and they were really great. And I think the hobos still have an organization and have conventions somewhere in Iowa every year. This picture shows one of the old hotels, the Park Hotel, which is on the lot between the railroad and the First Baptist Church, and this was the branch train that was getting ready to go to McMinnville, Manchester, and Sparta. And you may not realize it, but just between Tullahoma and Manchester, there were three stops. One at Hickerson Station near Hickerson School, and one at Belmont, and one at Blackjack. And the station at Belmont consisted of just a little, not a lean-to, but a shelter for people that waited on the train. And this is not a very good picture of it, but it shows a couple waiting for the train there at Belmont. Now, lastly, with the advent of all the heavy traffic in 18-wheelers, and we still see these every day coming through. One January, about 1975, on a Sunday afternoon, we had a derailment in the 400 block of North Atlantic Street in front of the dental office there, and it piled up furniture and hardware and cars on about a 2 or 3 block area there, and it was bitter cold, and it took several days to clear the rubble from the track, but they did finally. And shortly after that, just south of Tullahoma, a coal train derailed, and they asked people to bring their buckets and sacks, and they could have all the coal they wanted, and it was a quick cleanup because they got to have their coal for nothing. And the railroad means a great deal to our economy here, and we have really enjoyed it all through the years. And we'll have some more on the railroad, because this is not the end. There's more to come, and you join us every Thursday, and we'd be glad to see you. Hope you have a good day.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department need you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street, heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
I've got one! Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Come on. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Woo.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/therightseat.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, we're back, Peg, and we tried earlier in the year to have the ice cream social at South Jackson, and it got thunderstormed.
It totally got rained out. Even though it was rain let up at the end, it was coming in the windows at South Jackson.
Yeah.
It was devastating, really. But anyway, we are having this makeup show on September 14th. At the South Jackson outdoor stage in the front, and bring your chairs.
Now that's Thursday.
That's on a
Next Thursday
night, which is a hard night at this time of year, but I hope people will still come out. We have a dance class starting at 6:30 with Valerie Lawrence. I think she's teaching swing and maybe rumba, and we'll be giving prizes for 4 dance styles: waltz, swing, I forgot the other 2, but anyway, if you're a dancer, you might
quick step. You're probably not doing quick step. Foxtrot.
Foxtrot is one.
You know, it was funny. I pulled in my driveway, and I live out toward Avoca Lake, and on that Avoca Road that everybody's so worried about, there might be a house out there. And in my yard was a little fox sitting over there. And in the backyard, there were some deer.
So.
And you were talking about foxtrot, and the little fox trotted off, and I thought, you know, I was watching that little fox, and I thought, well, that's why they call it the foxtrot.
They call it the foxtrot. People wonder why I want to promote the South Jackson Street Band, and they need to know it's not about me singing once in a while. Samantha Terrell Waters will be singing with us this time, but what it is, it's about promoting instrumentation and to keep these people playing.
Right.
So important, because let's say we're doing a Broadway play at South Jackson Civic Center. We need people that are up on their music.
Right.
And you don't stay up on your music unless you're playing all the time. So.
And a player got to play.
Players got to play, that's right. I learned that a long time ago. Like, you know, I started out when I was probably 3 years old with a stick guitar in my hand. And I sang every song you could imagine. And I couldn't live if I didn't have music. I mean, it would just be.
How can we live
so
without
boring.
our music?
Right. That's a song.
It certainly
How
is.
do I live without my music? And it's important. Anyway.
It's very important.
The ice cream social is fun. Bring your lawn chairs. Again, if it rains, supposedly we're going inside, because you never know. We're hoping that maybe the rain has let up for a while.
I think it's supposed to rain today and tomorrow, and then maybe Thursday. If it rains, it would be in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be moved out of here by then.
I hope so. Anyway, it's a week from Thursday, and tickets are only $10. I think you can bring your little children for $5, and it's a great source of activity, and you learn about different things that are happening at South Jackson. The museum will be open. Blossom Merriman, it does a great job, and her helpers. And
something else along those lines, talking about the music, you know, it's time for Civic Choir to start back up. And Ann Baldwin did that for so many years.
And was fabulous.
So beautifully she did it. And I hope that because Ann and Louie are leaving town, or they might have left.
No, they're not leaving until their house sells.
Till their house sells, but she's not doing the choir this year. And
but it's still being done.
They're still being done. It's being directed. Vicki Collinsworth left when Ann left as far as pianist. They have another pianist ready. And this is something, it's a great gift by the people who got to sing.
I think maybe they start it next week.
Yeah, they do.
After
They're starting
Labor Day,
practice
if I'm
next
not
week.
mistaken.
So if you want to sing,
Grace
you know, and
Baptist.
it's like you just said, where would I be without my music? this is a gift from the community choir to the community, but it's also a gift to the members of that choir because they get an opportunity to be in a big group of people and make beautiful music.
If you want to be involved, I guess you need to call Grace Baptist Church because that's where you meet, but I think it's 7 o'clock.
Right.
And so,
and for you folks out there who usually go to see it,
it's wonderful.
It's still going to happen. So I look forward to that.
It's one of the most beautiful events
it's a great
that
Christmas
we have had.
thing.
And it's coming up.
It is.
It'll be Christmas before
It'll
we
be
know
happening. It'll be happening. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take you to a little bit of South Jackson Street Band because they'll be playing at the Ice Cream Social next Thursday, not this Thursday, but next Thursday. And then Lee Gibson played on the Outback stage at South Jackson this weekend, and we're going to show you a little bit of that. So with all that said, Tullahoma, Franklin County, Friday night, be there in the stands. Tullahoma, go Cats, go Cats, go. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next time.
Do we have any salsa dancers out there? A girl went back to Napoli because she loved the scenery, those native dances and the charming songs. But wait a minute, something's wrong. Hey mambo, mambo Italian, hey mambo, mambo Italian, go, go, go. You mixed up the sea and a whole calabrese, the mambo like a crazy. Hey mambo, I don't want no caramel, hey mambo, no more mozzarella, hey mambo, mambo Italian, Italian gelato with a piece of bacalao. Hey mambo. Happy and the pizza with that mambo. Take it, honey, love, please take it. Mama say to stop or I'm gonna tell you how. Don't have to go to school. Look here, you don't know about the cooking. Hey, mambo, mambo Italian, hey, mambo, mambo Italian, go, go, go. You mix up the sea, so you wish you get a happy and the pizza with me. So nice.
South Jackson Street Band is Middle Tennessee's premier big band. Visit our website, sjsband.com.
This has been a Ron Hackett Music video production.
Highway 64, there's an old schoolhouse with a door, and come on in, baby, go to home. Bring a little something in a little garage, bring you a good time, friends, and your entourage. Now get prepared. Realize